Right, today's a little bit of a different video, boys. I'm going to give you a rundown on the HUSQVARNA Te300i. So it's a TPI version, and yeah, we're at 150 hours I've done on the bike. The bike's actually done 180 hours. I bought the bike at 30, so it's kind of a long review. My 150 hours with it, and obviously it's done a little bit more than that at the 180 mark. But yeah, so far so good. Let's get into the details. 181, boys, 181. So first things first, I just want to talk about like why I bought this bike. So it's kind of my first proper bike. Before it I had a Honda 2 or CRF 250L, and the reason I bought that before, and I rode it like 3 or 4 times, that was it, was maintenance. And so I'm rubbish, and probably still am, but I started off as being absolutely terrible at the mechanic stuff. And OG subscribers will know some of the videos in the past, you'll have seen some of my issues and learnings and lessons along the way. But yeah, the mechanical side of this really worried me. The fact that you had to do like regular oil changes, do the air filter and all that kind of stuff, and just the watching reviews and things like that made that stuff sound difficult, where actually it's super simple. So yeah, I bought this as like my first proper bike. Wanted to learn all the lessons that you would when you're riding it. And yeah, the maintenance was one of those things. You just hear all this like, oh, this needs doing it every X amount of hours, and you just don't appreciate actually how easy that stuff is. So for me, yeah, it was kind of a big learning. But also what I want to point out, and to just let other people know, if you're worried about that kind of stuff, don't worry too much. As long as you've got some good mates that can teach you and show you, or watch a load of good YouTube videos, yeah, it's way easier to do that stuff than you think. And if I can do it, look, any of you guys can do it. This bike is yeah, fingers crossed, touch wood, it's been a dream. And over the 150 hours, nothing serious has gone wrong, and it's been really easy to maintain, run, and yeah, been a great bike to me. So like I said, I bought a bike at 30 hours. I was lucky enough, I bought it pre-COVID hike, so I've got it at a really good deal. And actually, weirdly enough, at the 150 hour mark now, so yeah, well, sorry, at the 180 hour mark now, me having done 150 hours on it, I'd be able to sell it for the same price as what I bought it, which is mind-blowing. But yeah, price wise, they're a solid investment. Don't really go down in money. I mean, it's obviously gone up, a bit of a strange time and all that, but yeah, overall you can't really go wrong with buying one of these. You won't lose out, obviously, all the running and maintenance costs and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of it, it shouldn't be worth much less than what you got. So yeah, just touching on the maintenance side of it, like the main things, you've got to do gearbox oil change. So I do that every 8 hours. So plug on the other side, just you get on in up there, take the plug out, drop the oil out, and then literally just fill her up there again, and then Bob's your uncle. Absolute dream, super easy. Like I said, every 8 to 10 hours for me. Don't do super hardcore motocross or anything like that, just enduro off-road, and yeah, super easy to maintain. So that's kind of the stuff that I do there. And then also 2-stroke oil, one of the main reasons for me as well. I didn't want to be doing the mixing or the carb stuff, so you just drop the 2-stroke right in here, and as it's a TPI, it does all the hard work for you. So yeah, lovely and simple. So one of the major things that I've done in ownership, so 110 hour mark for me, did the old top end rebuild. I say I did it, had a matey boy do it, Jakey boy, you guys will know him from the channel. He did the rebuild for me, or with me. I got to watch, hopefully learn some bits, but that was, yeah, the biggest piece that needed doing. I mean, fairly inexpensive, 150 quid or something like that to get all the parts, and then it was just the labour that Jakey boy helped me out on. So that was the only kind of major thing that I've had to do along the way. And then the only other kind of mechanical issue or thing that wasn't just normal maintenance, I had the Bendix go. So when you push the starter motor, it wouldn't start inside here. The old starter, the Bendix, which basically spins up, catches the startery thing, it gets the thing started. Just went, no idea why, it just wouldn't free roll backwards, so just had to replace that part again. Probably similar price for that part, but yeah, over those 150 hours, this bike definitely takes a beating. Again, if you watch the channel, you'll know how much abuse I put this thing through, and been faultless all the way along the way. So yeah, So I mentioned just before about the Bendix part, so I had trouble starting the thing because I couldn't push it off the electric start. I had to use the kickstart, and you notice this one is aftermarket, slightly different. The reason that is because the day that I was kickstarting this bike, and I've probably kickstarted it 20 times max, the kickstarter snapped. So just worth bearing in mind that the one that comes with the bike is not not ideal, or didn't for me have the strength to harness this leg. So yeah, just an interesting point. I thought, wasn't expecting that to snap on a ride out, and that did cause me some issues. Had to take Jakey Boy's one off of his bike, put it onto mine, kickstart it, get it home, and oh yeah, what a palaver. And guys, one thing you'll notice straight out the bat is it doesn't look like a Husqvarna. The graphics, colours, all that kind of stuff. Obviously I've put my own plastics on. Make sure you subscribe, hit up the Enduro Traveler, watch those videos. Yeah, put my own graphics on. I actually did that probably what I think is a little bit too late. I should have. Kind of lesson learned for me, first bike, when you get it, take all the freshy kind of plastics off, the actual standard stock ones, and then put your ones on as soon as possible, because when it comes to resale time you can stick that back on. And yes, I know when you're talking about resale and all that kind of stuff, it's like, yeah, not sleeping with the girlfriend to keep it tight for the next. It's kind of one of those things, but for me, I always wanted to have my own graphics on it anyway, so I should have done that sooner, and would have just made that resale time a little bit easier. I've fortunately managed to get some aftermarket ones, and again, all the parts for this bike yeah, are super easy accessible. There's loads of dealers around here in the UK. I've never had an issue where I've not been able to get something kind of same week. So yeah, kind of for me, parts wise, super available. Just a little lesson learned there, and all good. I think just touching on parts, and one of the parts being readily available, good, but one of the issues with this bike is the infamous subframe. So you can see here, nice beautiful top layer of the subframe, good. There, not so bueno. Snapped it. It's actually the second one I've snapped, and yes, you can say rider error and all that kind of stuff, but I bought this bike to learn. For me, it's a piece that you should be able to abuse, throw around a little bit, and these break way too easy, and you'll see forums and all that kind of stuff. They're a pain in the arse. So that is the one fault for the bike, and actually the one reason I'd potentially consider another brand. I know that sounds really petty, but yeah, I've got mates who've got KTMs, GasGas, all other beaters, other brands. They abuse them just as much as me, and yeah, basically that just doesn't snap, and it's a costly part. That bit is like 170-80 quid. So the fact that, yeah, that's so easy to snap is not good. Again, just touching on why I bought a Husqvarna over kind of any other brand. So KTM basically have different system back here, so not the linkage like that, and it just means it sits lower, and I think that's the case. But it was just for me. I had friends that had these bikes, and that was kind of a key part. And one of the things you'll know from my recent videos is I've done all the suspension, so put the right springs in and the right shock in the back, and God, what a difference that's made. So if you're going to get the bike, that is an absolute must. And I just went stock. Again, Jakey Boy, one of our friends, he went K-Tech, and have other friends that have done other brands, but for me, that was one of the things that made such a huge difference. Just got it planted, get all your sags set right, and that kind of stuff, and then yeah, the bike will just feel completely different. And the stock stuff for me is more than capable. So but just make sure you've got the right settings and the right spring sets. You'll notice there's quite a few little extras on the bike. I'm going to do a separate walk around on just what are all the absolute musts and additionals, upgrades and all that kind of stuff that you have to put on these bikes to kind of make it durable for the stuff that we do. So separate video coming on that, but yeah, we'll go into that right now. Let's talk a little bit about performance and stuff, and we're going to do that on the bike. So yeah, let's get on the thing, get the motor started, and let's have some fun. Woo. Boys, the bike has got plenty of power. Yeah, it's got so much torque. 300, definitely all you need for this kind of stuff. Easily slipping that clutch. There's plenty of punch. She feels light as well, really nimble, manoeuvrable. Yeah, I think the bike is great. Never had any issues with it kind of giving out, or not kind of having the power there when you need it. I mean, I've definitely had some issues with lack of skill ability and riding, but yeah, no complaints as far as the Husky goes. Whew. Also, I ride with bar risers on, just because I get some back problems every now and then, so got it a little bit taller. You can definitely feel the difference when you're on like a KTM with the originals and stuff like that, but yeah, she's great. She rides really well. As I said, plenty of power when you need it. I think, touch wood, super reliable. Never had any performance issues in that sense. I mean, in every sense of the word, hopefully. If you don't believe me, ask your mama. You get quite a lot of the old horror stories and all that kind of stuff on the forums around TPI and injections all messing up and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I've had no issue at all like that. Like, mechanically, been bulletproof. Great bike, like I said. I would definitely recommend it. 150 hours done on it and feel like it's still as good as the day I got it. And then one other thing to mention just about the bike is it has 2 map switches. So one is like super aggressive, full punch mode, and then you can put it in 2, which is like softy. What's that? Hiya.
What is it?
It's a HUSQVARNA.
Ah, yeah, I know the name now. I just couldn't recognise the logo.
No. So that's my personal logo. So I've got graphics and stuff on it. So
I bet that rides beautifully, doesn't it?
it is, yeah. It's good fun. Love it.
I bet it is. It's a long while since my problem when I rode a bike, I couldn't shut that tappy thing off. Just do me a favour. Be careful.
I will. Thank you. Appreciate it.